Daniel stood at the edge of the scrapyard auction grounds on Station Helix 9, watching the auctioneer's holographic display flicker through listings of decommissioned vessels. Most were gutted freighters or outdated patrol crafts, nothing worth the fuel it would take to fly them out of orbit. Then he saw it. The armored heavy cruiser designated Ironclad 7 loomed in Bay 47 like a sleeping giant. Its hull was scarred with plasma burns and meteor impacts, covered in a patchwork of mismatched repair panels. The ship was a relic from the Centauri Wars, nearly 40 years old, with outdated thruster arrays and a reactor that probably leaked radiation like a broken faucet. Lot 247, the auctioneer droned. Military-grade heavy cruiser, armor plating intact, weapons systems removed per demilitarization protocols. Starting bid, 500 credits. Silence. Daniel glanced around. The other scavengers and traders weren't even looking at the display. They knew what he knew, maintaining a ship that size would bankrupt a small colony. The fuel costs alone would be astronomical. 400 credits, the auctioneer dropped the price. Still nothing. 300, 200, 100. Daniel's fingers hovered over his credit chip. He had exactly 247 credits to his name, everything he'd saved from 3 years of hauling cargo through the outer systems. He was supposed to use it for a down payment on a decent transport vessel, something practical that could get him steady work. 50 credits. The auctioneer sounded bored now. 15, Daniel heard himself say. Every head in the auction yard turned toward him. The auctioneer blinked, consulting his neural interface to verify the bid was legitimate. 15 credits, the auctioneer repeated slowly. Going once, twice, sold to bidder 1847. Melissa was running diagnostics on a mining rig when Daniel found her in the station's engineering quarter. She was the best ship mechanic on Helix 9, with cybernetic implants that let her interface directly with ship systems. They'd worked together before, back when Daniel had been crew on the Wandering Star. "You did what?" she asked, pulling her consciousness out of the mining rig's computer core. Her optical implants glowed faintly as she processed what he just told her. "I bought the Ironclad for 15 credits. Daniel, that ship is a death trap. The reactor is probably corroded beyond repair. The life support systems are ancient, and even if you could get it running, the maintenance costs would." "I know," Daniel interrupted. "But think about it, Mel. That armor plating is nearly indestructible. If we could get the engines operational, even at half capacity, we'd have the most defensible civilian vessel in 3 sectors. Melissa crossed her arms, her mechanical fingers tapping against her elbow. "Defensible against what? The wars are over, Daniel. Nobody needs a warship anymore." "The frontier zone," he said quietly. Her expression changed. The frontier zone, the lawless expanse beyond regulated space where pirate clans operated freely and corporate enforcers didn't venture. It was also where the most lucrative salvage operations existed, ancient colony ships from the first expansion era, floating untouched for decades. "You want to go treasure hunting," she said. "I want to go where no one else can, and in a ship with armor that thick, we could actually survive it." Melissa was silent for a long moment, her implants flickering as she ran calculations. Finally, she sighed. "Let me see the ship." The Ironclad was worse than Melissa had imagined, and better. Worse because the reactor was indeed leaking radiation. The navigation computer was running on software from before the unified stellar calendar, and half the interior corridors were exposed to vacuum due to blown seals. Better because beneath all that neglect, the ship's bones were solid. The armor plating was composite durasteel reinforced with graviton-resistant alloys, materials that would cost millions to produce now. The engine core, though damaged, was a military-grade fusion reactor capable of generating enough power to run a small city. And in a hidden compartment behind the main cargo bay, they found something unexpected. The weapons systems hadn't been fully removed. Someone had simply disabled them and welded blast panels over the hardpoints. "This ship still has teeth," Melissa whispered, running her hand along a concealed rail gun mount. "Whoever decommissioned this didn't follow protocol. They just made it look disarmed." Daniel felt a chill run down his spine. Why would they do that? Maybe they planned to come back for it. Maybe they were making a statement. Or maybe— She turned to look at him, her optical implants adjusting focus. "Maybe they wanted someone like us to find it." Over the next 3 months, they worked 16-hour days. Melissa fabricated custom parts using the station's industrial printers, while Daniel negotiated for supplies, trading favors and taking odd jobs to fund their repairs. They sealed the hull breaches, replaced the coolant systems, and rewired the entire electrical grid. The day they finally powered up the main reactor, the ironclad hummed to life with a deep, resonant thrum that Daniel felt in his chest. Station Control immediately hailed them, alarmed by the energy signature. "This is Station Helix 9 Control. Identify your vessel and state your intentions." Daniel smiled, keying the comm. "This is the Independent Vessel Second Chance, formerly the Ironclad 7. We're departing for the frontier zone, requesting clearance for undocking." A pause, then clearance granted and good luck out there. As the heavy cruiser pulled away from the station, its scarred armor catching the light of the nearby star, Melissa stood beside Daniel on the bridge. Through the viewports, the frontier zone beckoned, a vast darkness filled with danger, mystery, and possibility. 15 credits, she said, shaking her head with a slight smile. "Best investment you ever made." Daniel gripped the control yoke, feeling the raw power of the ship responding to his touch. "Let's go find out what nobody else has the armor to reach." The Second Chance accelerated into the black, leaving the safety of regulated space behind. The end.